Hum one note, low and comfortable, lips closed, for 60 seconds, and notice where in your body you feel it. That is the whole instruction. I will count you in shortly. One sentence of why. Your vocal folds make a buzz, it travels out through you, and whatever is stiff enough to answer it moves. Enough to feel. You may feel it in your chest, your teeth, the bridge of your nose, or the roof of your mouth. Not everyone feels the same map. Differences between people have been measured, and this channels rule before you fall for the picture. Everything on this plate is a simulation, computed and driven by the sound of this recording. Nobody filmed a plate. Sit however you already are. Put one hand flat on your breastbone and leave it there. A low tone will start. It is a guide, not a target. If it sits wrong in your throat, use your own note. Breathe in through your nose. Hum until the breath runs out, then breathe in and go again, until the counter reaches 0. I will stay quiet. Breathe in 2, 3, and hum. Let that last one finish by itself. Hand stays where it is. Where did you feel it? Keep that answer. Now watch what one held note does to a computed plate. This is the plate from what your voice does to matter. 40 centimeters of steel, sand on top. My voice driving it while the plate decides which shapes are possible. While I speak, the spectrum keeps changing. The plate starts a new figure before the last one has finished. We counted it on the finished film. The figure changed 631 times, about once a second for 11 minutes. Now the same plate, one note held. The spectrum steadies. The grains slide away from the moving regions, collect along the line standing still, and the figure holds. That gap between a sentence and one held note is why the instruction was to hum and not to talk. A hum is not one frequency. Your folds make a buzz whose energy sits at the note and again at whole multiples above it. A ladder you hear as one sound. That ladder is what we drive the plate with. The 3 strongest peaks at each moment, because that is what is in a voice. We tried the tidier version and it failed. Under one perfectly pure tone, the grains find the few points standing still for every shape at once and never leave. The picture dies into a lattice of dots. Somebody worked this out with real sand a long time ago, and I want you to have the book. In 1787, Ernst Chladni published Discoveries in the Theory of Sound. 77 pages, 11 engraved plates. He scattered sand on brass, drew a violin bow down the edge, and drew what appeared. Those engravings are the ancestor of every picture here. His sand was real. Ours is computed. They are not the same kind of evidence. So where does a hum land and why there? In 1983, The Journal of Speech and Hearing Research published Johann Sundberg's measurements. 7 singers, accelerometers taped over the breastbone, and for comparison on the throat. The chest is not shaking because the room is loud. It is driven from below, by the pressure swinging under the vocal folds. What reaches the chest wall is the strength of the note itself. Then he found the ceiling. It appears to stay above the threshold of the touch endings that answer vibration, as long as the note sits below about 300 cycles a second. The paper supports a sensation threshold, while the fundamental stays below about 300 cycles a second. It does not promise what every person will feel. That is why the instruction says low, comfortable, and notice. The face has been measured too. In 2015, Frontiers in Psychology published Kitamura and Otani, who aimed a scanning laser at 3 sopranos and read vibration off 10 points on the forehead without touching them. The vibration pattern differed between the singers. That is what the study measured. What your own hum means to you is a different question, and the measurement does not erase it. A hum feels unlike other sounds you make for one more reason. In 2010, the Journal of the Acoustical Society of America published Reinfeldt and colleagues, who separated the part of your own voice that arrives through the air from the part that arrives through bone. They tested 10 speech sounds. For most of them, between 1 and 2,000 cycles a second, bone conduction was the louder route. The paper measured those 2 routes. It did not measure what the vibration means to you. Yogic traditions call humming breath Brahmari pranayama. Today we often describe its settling through the vagus nerve and nervous system. In 2002, the American Journal of Respiratory and Critical Care Medicine published 2 pages by Weizberg and Lundberg. 10 healthy people, humming or exhaling quietly at a fixed rate, with the nitric oxide leaving the nose measured continuously. The air spaces behind your cheeks make nitric oxide constantly and sit full of it behind a small opening. Humming shakes the air, the opening exchanges, and the gas leaves with your breath, 15 times as much as a quiet breath out. In 2005, the Journal of Applied Physiology published Menzel and colleagues, who watched the same thing second by second in 8 people. The gas washes out with a time constant of 3 seconds. 3. The space takes about 4.5 minutes to fill again. So the 60 seconds I asked you for was not 60 seconds at the 15-fold peak. The measured nitric oxide signal decayed over the first few seconds, while recovery took minutes. The 15-fold increase and the short washout belong in the same sentence. The studies measured both. The measurements are one window into a hum. Across yoga, mantra, rosary prayer, and living traditions, repeated sound has long been used to settle the body, gather attention, carry remembrance, and change the feeling of the space within and around us. That lived knowledge belongs in this story. A hum can move through breath and tissue, speak to the nervous system, carry intention, and become a devotional act at the same time. Physical effect and spiritual meaning can be part of one experience. Different traditions and modern teachers describe that experience in different ways. Healing, alignment, prayer, resonance, or coming back to yourself. Vibrate with creation makes room for those meanings because they are part of how people live the practice. The invitation is simple. Hum, listen, and notice what changes in your field. A boundary decides which shapes a vibration can take. A held note gives those shapes time to build. And you are full of boundaries, each answering the note you chose. This channel is about resonating. Research can describe some parts of a hum, but not every part of living needs a measurement. Feelings are resonating too. They are part of how the sound is received. The founder of Vibrate with Creation practices humming because it aligns her and works for her. Nervous system, living body, feeling, attention, memory, devotion and spirit move together. That whole movement is resonance. Take 5 breaths now and notice your own map. Same one hand, and this time it moves. One thing changes each breath, where your hand is or which note you hum, never both. You are never asked to hum and do anything else at once. Hand flat on your breastbone. Breathe in, hum the low note, let it run all the way out. Breathe in. Move the same hand to the bridge of your nose, same note, all the way out. Breathe in. Leave your hand exactly there and hum a higher note. A comfortable step up, not a strain, all the way out. Breathe in. Back to the low note, hand back on your breastbone, all the way out. Last one. Whichever place answered loudest. Put your hand there if you can reach it, your attention there if you cannot. Hum the note that put it there, and let the breath end. That is the practice. A hum can be ordinary and sacred at once. It is the cheapest instrument you will ever own, and the only one you cannot leave at home. The note you hold is the input. The shape you are in when it arrives is the part you get to change. Try it again tonight, when the day is off you, and notice whether it lands in the same place. Your posture, breath, attention, emotion, memory, and the note all belong to the field receiving the sound. If the map changes, notice the change without shrinking its meaning.